What I'm about to do to my self-built camper van is going to leave it without electricity because there's a lot that needs doing. And I'm going to be spending most of the day crouched down like this, potentially banging my head like that. Essentially, it doesn't look complete. That's because that kind of blew up earlier. That's that. Sat down the beach the other day. I live in this van, so I use it all the time, and it's fully electric off-grid. Danielle was with me. She turned the inverter and the induction hob on at the same time, and I thought it blew the inverter. Turns out it just blew the fuse. I've actually got the fuse up here somewhere. Look at that. That's a bit broken. So I've got all the stuff ready to get that sorted, along with a lot more. There's quite a lot more actually. To be able to run the inverter in a way that I can use everything that I need to, the induction hob and there, I need to use bigger cables. Bigger cables means bigger fuses, so I ordered the bigger fuse. I've got the bigger cable. I can't just wire it to that. I've got to change all the battery wires too. Got an electric hookup to install. That's not going to be done in this video because I just don't have the time. What else have we got down here? We've got, I'm looking forward to this. We've got the Savvy screen. That's all in this box here. It's a computer that basically runs the entirety of the camper van. It's going to be a tricky one to install, so stay around for that. That installation also means I've got to install that installation. That's a level valve for the actual water tank. Tell me how level the water tank is. Sorry, tell me how full the water tank is. We've got the new chicken's teeth, the 50 amp Orion DC to DC charger. I've currently got the 30 amp. Oh no. There it is. There's my new fuse box. That's possibly going to go over there somewhere. Let's get started. We know there's going to be loads of problems along the way, but we don't know what and how to overcome them. The moral of this story is essentially, if you're going to do something, do it right the first time, and then what? Problem number one, the isolator switch for the battery is knackered. Do those two still work? Yep. So that's the DC to DC coming in and the solar coming in. They're off, but the actual main battery one doesn't. This is just one of the things we're gonna have to face throughout this whole build. Is I installed it all, so you think I'd know where everything goes, but the cable goes into there. But where does that one go? Into there, because it goes in the back and then tucks around somewhere, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Just loads of wiring and stuff to figure out. I'm just gonna disconnect the battery to start with. It's just a simple undo the ratchet strap, which I could do with doing a better one to be fair, and that takes the batteries out. Unscrew the top ones. We can completely disregard that little wire because that goes over to the Renogy shunt, which is just there. That's gonna get completely eliminated because the Savvy screen itself has got a shunt built in. Now the system is kind of safe. The only part that's unsafe is the DC to DC coming in and the solar coming in, but they've been isolated there, so just don't mess with that side of things. I kind of want to get this off to figure out what's happening to it and see whether it's just a quick fix or whether I need to order a new one. To be fair, I don't think these are rated for the 400 amp hours worth of battery power that I've actually got. And let's just have a quick little look. It looks okay actually. I don't know why it's not turning. I don't know, but the switch doesn't look very happy itself, does it? On the safe side, I think I'm just going to take it off and get it changed anyway. I don't know what could be wrong with it, but I'm tempted to get those 4 screws off the bottom just to see. Yep, last one. Let's have a little nosy. Why is that still not coming out? Oh, but it looks a bit toast. It looks a lot toast. Look at how melted it is under there. Yeah, that's why it's a bit knackered. Those two are okay because they don't really have much power going through them, just 300 watts for the DC, and then I've got a 200 watt solar panel. But this would have had 400 amp hours going through it at one point, or whatever I was using, so that's why this is knackered. Get this ordered. Something kind of tells me that's what this whole van is going to be. This whole video is finding out problems that I've made in the past and rectifying them. Essentially, that's all I can feel it's going to be. And there's the positive buzz bar. Now I know these are okay because they're rated to 500 amps, but this goes into here. Oh, there we go. I assume it's that one just there. So if we pull it, that should all pop out to that one. So I'm gonna have to get that off and then see how I've double stacked them. That can't be good. Get that one off, and then that should be that cable out. That's just another one that I've got to actually upgrade to a bigger one. Basically, I don't think I'm going to be able to hide it, so I'm going to have to come up with some other scenario of being able to do that. I'm going to do the same for the negative buzz bar. That's the negative from the battery, goes into the Renogy shunt. That's coming out as well, but that goes into there. undo that, yeet that off. Then I've got the 2 cables just there go to the inverter. The 2 cables just there, they go to the inverter. Get them out, get them yeeted off. They're all hidden, so they're going to be a challenge to actually get off. Then I can start upgrading the wires for that. When you buy the Renogy inverter, the 3000 watt, it comes with 2 cables, 2 positive cables and 2 negatives. So you just assume that the 2 just do it just like that, 2 and 2. Well, I added the fuse because it didn't come with a fuse, but anyway, I did that. But then I read the instructions like in detail, and right down in the fine print it said this is for only testing purposes. How many people have done this and connected the 2 together up to their inverter just thinking that they're doing the right thing, and it turns out that it is just for testing purposes and you actually need to buy the proper cabling? That is the cable that comes with it, and I'll show you the cable that is supposed to be used. Look at that. I've got 95mm here because I'm drawing so much power. Look at that. And have I even got connections for this? I don't know. So let's get it all sorted. To be fair, I do think I've got a little bit overkill, and that's just because I do draw so much power, future-proofing it, so to speak. I can add on to it and don't need to worry about it. So I've got to order the connections for that stuff, the 95mm, which does hold me back quite a lot, but I've also got to order that as well. So it swings and roundabouts, it gets done and dusted. One big positive that I have just found, this cable just here is the 25mm cable that I need to run for the DC to DC charger. The reason I was going to do it a different day was solely because I assumed the cable that I've already got installed for mine, it's all hidden in the walls and stuff, so I'd have to reroute a whole new cable. So I went out and I bought enough cable to be able to do it. I've just noticed that the cable is big enough. Just going to double check it actually. It is. This is the cable I bought to route for the new DC to DC charger. That is the cable that's already in place. They are the same size. But why does that matter? Let me show you why that matters. It would take me about a day to be able to run the cables that I need to do underneath the actual van. Not just that, it's drilling through the floor to get the cable up, taking the passenger seat out to get, and the swivel seat base to get to the fuse box underneath, when all I have to do now is undo these 3 screws in there, undo that screw, that screw, that screw, that screw. That comes off. I've stuck some new ends on them. I've heat shrinked them all up so they're nice and safe. We've already got all of our ventilation back there. That is essentially just going to go just there. Look at how much smaller that is compared to that top unit, which is about the same size as the one I've just taken out. There you go. You can see them just there. And because it's a lot smaller, I've been able to sort of tuck it down here just a bit more, just to give me a bit more room over there for some other bits and bobs that I've got to do. All I've got now is this little cover to go over there. Perfect. We've got the inverter back up. We've got the cables actually cut to the right size going into the inverter. That's up on the wall. All we've got to do now is run a cable from there and up there to be able to run a new fuse box over there. We don't have those connections either. That's going to be a job in a couple of days, still in this video though. We can put that fuse box in there because it's time to start wiring up the Savvy vans. Oh, yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about standing up. Oh. So what is the Savvy vans? This is it. It's essentially a brain for the whole van that you can control. So you've got your little screen there. You can get it a couple of different sizes. This one's a 7-inch. You can get a 5-inch. And basically you can control everything from that screen, and that's where mine's going to be going. On top of that, we've got loads of additional bolt-ons. So this is the main computer of it. So your power goes in, you've got a temperature sensor which is just there. You can put that anywhere you want to show you the temperature on the screen. This is all your different things where you can add, basically you can switch a light on from this, you can switch anything, the fans, and you can configure loads of different tiles on there to do loads of different things. Eventually I'm going to be adding the Starlink into it and stuff like that, but there is extra bolt-ons which I've already got. The Savvy shunt, so I can see my battery, everything I need to know about my battery on the screen. The Savvy stance tells you exactly how level you are. Can't wait to get that in. The Savvy tanks tells you basically how full all your water tanks are, your LPG tank, your waste tank, your grey water, everything. I've only got the proper float valve for the freshwater tanks. That's all I'm going to be fitting with that. This is a Bluetooth, basically a water tank drain valve, and this is some of the cabling that goes with it. It seems fairly straightforward. It comes with a sticker and a QR code to scan for your installation. Empty the cupboard, mark out where we actually want it to go. make sure it's all level. No time like the present. I'm going to have to drill a hole in to be able to get the jigsaw in place to be able to trim that out. This just feels so wrong. It does give us the nice rounded edges we need on the corners though, except for this one, which I've randomly done in the middle. I don't know why. I figured it out when I've done that one already. We've got the Atom ESS. We're going to be plugging in the jigsaw to that and just zit, 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 zit. Hopefully it's the right size. And just like that, there's a hole. I don't know if it's going to fit. I've not tried it yet, but oh yes, and I've got a bit of adjustment in it as well. I think that is about level, wouldn't you say? We've got two cables, a HDMI and a micro USB. They connect the actual control panel directly to the back of the actual screen itself. So the HDMI, I've already started to feed them through, goes inside of that little slot just there, and it clicks into place. There we go. Micro USB. This is so that the data and all the power can actually go through to the actual control unit itself. And have I got that in the right way? No, I didn't. Let's push that in just there. And then this screen sticks onto the actual wood solely by 3M sticky tape all the way around. Just the satisfying peel it off and then squish the 3M tape into place. This is just a screen protector to get the, when it's all done and dusted, that's the final straw getting that off. Run the cables over to the consumer box thing that's going to be in that back cupboard. With the wires going in and secured with the securing block, we've got these three wires here, the red, blue and the black. No, it's red, yellow and black. That's for the temperature sensor, which I've stuck just upside there. And we've got the positive and negative going into it and then down to the other fuse box, which I've just fitted. In theory, that's ready to turn on. However, the fuse box isn't wired up just yet. So that's for a tomorrow job. We've got the add-ons. It's compatible with 3 water tanks and an LPG tank. And it's basically a Bluetooth device that connects up to the float valve, which I've not fitted a float valve, so I'm going to be doing that. And it basically tells you Bluetooth straight through to the screen, so it'll tell you your water levels in your wastewater, your grey water, your fresh water, your LPG. And that is what it looks like. It's come with a business card with a QR code for the instructions. I'm going to read them before I install it. It couldn't be any simpler. You've got it plugged onto the wall just there, just screwed in, positive and negative, over to the fuse box, which again isn't connected up yet. And then down here you've got tank 1, tank 2, tank 3 and gas. You just connect the right coloured wires into the right hole and done. Now those bits are from the general tank float valve. There is a specific one you need. It does say somewhere, there you go. Question is, where do I want to put this? So that's all it is, with a couple of wires, and that's the sensor. So it's going to sit in the tank like that and detect how full the actual water tank is. I'm thinking if I put it directly in the middle, if I'm driving around and sloshing around, the middle's still going to stay pretty accurate. No maths, no measuring, that's about right. 64mm hole, let's go. That just goes through that hole with that seal and then secured underneath with this big knot. And then boom, wire that straight into tank 1. Question for you, this side is white, then the middle one is brown and the outside one is green. Are the brown and green actually brown and green? Because I'm colourblind, I don't want to put power to this and watch it go boom. It tells you everything you need to know in the instructions, but that sorted. That is really simple. I don't think I've actually told you why I'm rushing around to get all this done. It's nearly show season, nearly festival season. We've got Vanlife Festival in 3 weekends, and I'm on the Field of Dreams. I'm doing a talk there as well, which is going to be quite cool. So if you are around there, drop us a little, come and say hello. That's going to be on the Field of Dreams. I'm looking forward to that. Then after that, we've got Dubbed Out Festival. That's going to be absolutely insane. I'm really looking forward to that. They've got a tattoo convention there. I've booked myself in to have a tattoo done, and you wait till you see that tattoo, because it's going to be epic. Then straight after that, the weekend after that, we've got one that I wanted to do last year, but I sort of put it off and I've regretted putting it off, so I'm doing it this year. Vanlife, that's up near York. It's on an airfield. That's going to be awesome. I'm doing a talk there as well, so if you're there, pop up and say hi. We've got the Savvy stance. That tells you how level you actually are, both front to back, side to side. And we've got the shunt. The shunt can't be done until the electrics are done. And we've got the drain valve. I still need to look into actually the fittings I need to get that fitted properly. Let's have a look at the stance. Plug and play, Bluetooth connectivity accurate to 1 degree. So it tells you you're perfectly level side to side and front to back. Same again, come with a card with the installation. I'm going to scan that, have a little look, but that is what you get. Look how small that is. That's wild cool. I'm guessing that's just positive and negative, and it really is just plug and play Bluetooth straight through to the actual screen. It is literally as simple as a 12-volt connection straight into there, so that's coming straight off the fuse board. See that arrow just there? That points to the front of the van. Bolt it down onto, or screw it down onto a level surface. That's it. The most level part of the van between my water tank and my boiler. I'm properly chuffed about how easy it is to install. Now all those little business cards that have got the QR code, I've kept all of them just solely because when it comes round to setting it up on the screen in a day or two, then I've got them just as a prehensile backup. Prehensile, is that? I don't know what that word means. What's left? The main thing, the savvy shunt. Now I'm going to have a look at this because I don't think I'll be able to do this until I've got my batteries all set up. But once again, you've got the card with the QR code, and oh, a nice big beefy. I've got the 500 amp shunt solely because that's what I've got already with the Venergy one, but it's not massively accurate. This is going to be a bit better in that sense. Plus, it's all going to be up here, so I won't have to crouch down there to sort of have a look at it. I'm going to have to go and see Lee down at VANZ Adventures. I've not seen him for a while, but he's the one that's done all this furniture. But I'm going to need a new piece for down here because I've got the shunts coming out of it. Plus, I want a new tabletop off him, and I want a few little bits to like hide the Wi-Fi router. That's just something I've got to do. Let's check this out. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, very nice. That's a big piece of kit. But I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit more complex than the rest of it all. I don't know. We'll have a look. It's 3 days later and some of the bits have arrived. Look at the size of them. They are absolutely massive. Big thick things. They're just the lugs to go onto the end of the big thick cable, which we've already started to do. We've got to connect the two batteries together via positive negative to negative. That way it keeps at 12 volts instead of 24 volts, but it doubles the amp hour, so it's going to go up to 400 amp hours. I'll leave the description for these batteries down in the description down below. There's a discount code down there as well, but they're sort of like the high end of the budget range of lithium batteries, and they're pretty cool, to be fair. So I've got them cut, lined up, ready to go. We've got the positive that goes into it. We have ordered an isolator that hasn't arrived yet, so I'm going to go without it for now. As soon as it arrives, it's just a case of cut the cable, couple of lugs, whack it on, not a problem. We have got the negative, the size of this cable, that goes down to there because the negative should come off one battery when the positive comes off another battery. The negative goes round into the Savvy Shunt 500 amp. That's all been wired up into the negative buzz bar. We haven't wired up to the inverter just yet because we haven't got that far. I'm just giving you an update on how it's all running. I'm going to connect all this up so at least I've got heating in the van. Like I said, it's been 3 days and I've not had heating, which isn't a massive thing. It was just last night it got a bit nippy. Oh, it's nice and cool though. Oh, it's nice and cool when you come in the van. It's been weird how I've been parking up and then I like to just jump into the back, but I always like to turn the light on first and then jump in the back, and I've not had lights because I've had no electric. I've left some food in the fridge and the freezer. I didn't realise that. I forgot all about it until yesterday when it started to smell. Once the electrics are back on, we can start programming the Savvy van. I'm really stoked to get that up and running, get that configured and get that worked out really nicely. You should see the size of the equipment I've had to use to like crimp all these cables, all these adapters. They're my pliers to snip it, and yeah, they've been doing it. It's been a struggle, but normally my little crimp tool to actually get the crimps on, you know, this thing, yeah, mine's not big enough for these 95mm cable crimps, so I've been using a la Jeremy Clarkson special. And I was right, 15 lugs wasn't enough. We've got the inverter coming down to the fuse. We've got a 300 amp fuse to go in there. It's not in there now. Down to the buzz bar. The buzz bar, that one goes back to the positive terminal on the battery. And the negative, from the negative buzz bar to the shunt, from the shunt down to here, which will go onto the battery. We've got, that's the negative cable ready to go onto the inverter. Need another lug for that. And down there we've got all the little bits to like connect the batteries up together. ordered them on a standard overnight order, so they should be arriving tomorrow. Hopefully they arrive tomorrow before I start work. I can get it knocked out and then we can get it all tested and programmed in, ready for the weekend. While we're actually waiting for all the new bigger lugs to actually arrive, I'm currently sat in Works car park the next day, and I thought, you know what, I need to shrink tube all of the fittings. I cannot find, for the life of me, shrink tube that big. I just can't find it. It's not, can't see it on the internet, so I went out for some electrical tape. So I'm going to take all the cables off all the way up, all the ones that I've got that I've not fitted yet, and I'm going to tape, really tape it. I've got a big roll so I can really tape it. You know the type of taping I mean, like proper tape it, and just keep going and going. Got enough tape here to last a lifetime. Well, to last the extra 20 minutes that this job's going to take. Now the isolator has arrived. This big beefy chunky thing here, Blue Sea isolator. Now it does have an inlet and an outlet on the back. Problem with that is it's going to have to go upside down for the way the cables and everything are running, which I'm not happy about, but it gets the job done. So everything seems to be connected up. Is it time to start connecting the batteries together and making the system live? First thing to do, make sure the isolator is turned off. That one needs to go round to the positive on that battery. That one goes to the negative on this battery, and these two connect the batteries together. Let's see what happens. Negative on that battery, that's the only terminal that's going to have a negative on it. Absolutely no sparkage at all. The battery's nice and secured, strapped in. We've just got a bit more to do before we turn it on, test it, and configure the new Savvy screen. This is the switch to turn on and off the Starlink. It goes through the dishy, no AC, and we've got all the discount codes and stuff for all this in the actual description, but that converts the Starlink from 240 volt down to 12 volt. Comes from a company called Star V Mount, and it's absolutely amazing. They're the ones that flat mount it to the roof too. I want to convert this 12 volt system onto the actual Savvy van, so I can turn the Starlink on and off through the Savvy van. To do that, I've got the red and yellow cable cut off there, stuck a connector on it. Then we run the cable up into the big overhead lockers into where the control panel is actually going to be. We've got number 1 down here, and can you see the little letters underneath it? NO, COM, NC. That's normally open, common, and normally closed. Now you only have 2 wires going into it, obviously. It depends on what you want. If you want the actual product itself, whatever you're turning on, to be on all the time, then you do it normally closed, because you want the switch inside there to always be closed, and then when you turn it on the actual thing, it opens, turning it off. Me, I want the Starlink to be off most of the time, and then I want to be able to turn it on the actual control panel. So I need that to be normally open, so the connector is normally open. When I turn it on, it closes the connector, turning it on. So I'm going to go NO, normally open, and common. And on there, you're going to have up to 8 different things. Actually make it sound like I know what I'm doing. I haven't. It's just the instructions are that sort of easy to follow. You learn while you're actually being told what to do and how to do it. I've added the fuses inside the secondary fuse box. The covers back on the buzz bars. It's time to switch that on. Oh, I've heard a beep. That means the fridge has come on. And the Savvy screen is on. I've just got to set it all up, configure the right buttons to what I need, and it's all done up here. Wi-Fi settings, user settings, installer settings. The factory code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I found all of that on their TikTok page, Savvy Van's actual TikTok page. He shows you how to install this in less than a minute. Tile settings, we'll just set up the Starlink tile settings. We only want 1 tile, and here you can tile 1, tap to change. So we don't want the battery there, we want this to be the Starlink. So is there a symbol on there that we can use? If not, you can make your own symbol. I think the Wi-Fi signal, that's the one I'll go for. After pressing the home screen, all I've got is Wi-Fi there, and if I press it, it all lights up. That is the Starlink now on. Quite chuffed with that, but we added a few Bluetooth add-ons. Into installer settings, code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'll go on to Bluetooth settings, and then we'll go scan. Savvy tanks, we'll click on add, and then Savvy shunt, we'll click on add. Oh God, you can really do everything here. So I've gone onto the Savvy tanks, and you're able to do 3 water tanks and a gas tank. Well, I only need 1, so I've just enabled 1. Typed in it's fresh water, 90 litres. That's that done. Click on the home button, and then boom, There's my water tank just there. It literally tells me exactly how many litres I've got in the freshwater tank. That is awesome. Let's go back over to the home. I'm still figuring out how to work it. So just there, you can add, like I say, 8 buttons there to turn on and on different things. There's your water tank just there. You can press that, boom, there we go. I've got my battery management just there. Now that obviously when this is on and been on a bit more, you get a graph of how much you've used. I'm discharging slowly, and at this rate my battery will last 6 days and 16 hours. Now the only reason it's discharging so much at the minute is because obviously the fridge freezes on its big cool down, because obviously it's been turned off for a few days. Finally, let's turn on the DC to DC charger and the solar input. Got to drop the bigger fuse. Now that we've got all the bigger cabling, we can use a bigger fuse on the inverter. So we've got the 300 amp. Top tip, if you've got a fuse holder like this, put the fuse on the outside of those lugs, don't put it underneath. If you need to ever change it, it's just easier to take it off and put a new one back on. That was another lesson I learnt on the whole come and don't do what I do YouTube channel. This one. Subscribe. Now let's go and see if the inverter, the inverter's on. Yes! Turn the remote off. Yes, it's gone off. And look, oh, yeah, the inverter's on. Who would have thought a £6 fuse is what started all of adding all this. I did need a kick to get it sorted though. That is so cool. I've got the Starlink on and it works perfectly fine. I've got the temperature inside, but the problem I've got is the temperature sensors up inside one of the cupboards, so it's reading a bit warmer. I've managed to get the Wi-Fi sorted on it, because it comes with Wi-Fi built into it, and I've connected to it, and I've got the weather for everything from all the days and stuff that is going to happen. The only thing I'm trying to work out now is how I can get that tank one to actually say how much water's inside the tank. Do you know what I mean? There you go, 36 litres are inside that tank, but I'd love for that to show just there. So there is a way of doing it, so I'm figuring it out. I've come down to one of them. That's the laundrette, the Revolut thing, and I decided I'm going to do the washing up. I'm going to test out the actual heating itself. Now it's going to take an hour and a half to heat my hot water up, so I'm not doing that. I'm just going to boil a kettle, chuck it straight in the sink. This is what we're showing up on the battery management side of the Savvy VANZ. We're using 953 watts, 74 amps to actually boil the kettle, which is really good actually. It's showing that the actual inverter, the new fuse, all the wiring, everything is working as it should be. But check out this graph just here. So let me talk you through what this graph actually showing. So we've got this little spike just up here. Well, that's where I just turned it all on and the solar was kicking in to recharge the batteries ever so slightly. That big spike just there, that's where I actually went for a drive and it was charging up really nicely. All this is overnight time, and then obviously the sun started coming up, you can see it peaking up, and then I went for a drive to come down here to be able to actually do what I need to do. So it's going to be interesting to see with this massive draw what that does, because this runs in 10-minute, 15-minute intervals. So it's going to be interesting to see that. This is quite handy actually. Every time I come to these sort of laundrettes where they're sort of mobile, I can go in, do everything I need to do. It gives me about an hour and a half to 2 hours of sorting the van out, getting everything sort of in place and what needs to be done. I've sorted through all my t-shirts, put them all back up there where the control panel should be. I've still got some wiring to do. I've still got some stuff I want to wire into that, and I've still got some investigative work to do, because this light up here doesn't work and it hasn't done for a while, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think I knocked out the fuse box, all the cables going into the fuse box for that. If that's the case, then it means I can rewire all that to be able to work up on the screen as well, so it's not just the Wi-Fi that's working. But I'm starting to sort of feel like I'm actually going to be ready for this van going on show at Vanlife Festival. Check it out, I got 40% water, I managed to sort all that out. Waiting for me drying to get done, and a man walks up, oh, watch your videos, I got this for you out the garage. Yeah, the amount of people that have given me one of these, they just know I love them. They just know I love them. If you're coming to Vanlife Festival, hint, hint, check that out. It's only used 3% battery to actually boil the kettle and stuff like that. You can see the big spikes, and it's dropped right down below the normal line when I was actually using the electric. Currently, it's got the green tick going up, and it's charging by 98 watts. That's just because it's sunny at the minute. In 1 hour, it'll be fully charged. Bonus. Got an early start this morning because it's time for a little bit of mechanisms. Yep, that's a word now. Trust me, that's a word. Got to go get an oil change done on the van. It's been needing it for a few weeks, to be fair. I've put this one off and I don't know why. Anyway, we've got to get an oil change, but I'm thinking about getting the side steps off the van too. Hear me out. Although they look quite nice, they're not load bearing. That essentially means they're not really made to add weight. They're more there as an aesthetic. So it kind of, if it's on show and everyone's walking in and out sliding door, more people are going to be standing on it, potentially breaking it, and I don't really want them to break them, but I kind of think I'm over the side steps now. They lowered the vehicle by about that much, and I've got 3 ferries to get on in just a few weeks. So I'm sort of like, subscribe to see what that adventure's all about. You know, that whole, like, if it's high tide, you've got to go up the ramp and then onto the ferry. That little sort of ridge, you can sort of bottom out on there. Well, I'll just eliminate that issue. So we pull up to the garage. These were actually recommended to me from Dubbed Out Festival, Dubbed Out Community. We started off by attacking the side steps. We've got one side off, got the other side off, but then we realised already one of the centre brackets on the middle one was actually snapped and broken off. That's something we definitely should have kept on top of. Then time for an oil change. We plugged in the diagnostics computer just to check for any codes, historical or anything like that, and everything was working perfect. He said we needed a battery in the key. That was it. Bonus, it's time to crack on. Obviously, as you can tell, it's night time. You can tell that because it's pitch black outside. We've got the blinds up, we're ready for bed. But I just wanted to show this little feature. It's called sleep mode, and it's quite ingenious because through the day, if you just tap it, it comes back on as there, and through the daytime, 8 AM to 8 PM, the screen will stay on for 2 hours, and then it will go into sleep mode. One tap and it comes out. But at night time, that screen's now going to stay on for 2 minutes, and then it'll just go blank again. But tomorrow's job, we're going to be adding more buttons. As you can tell, we've only got Wi-Fi on there. That's the Starlink. We're going to finally get this light sorted, because if we flick the switch just there, it does absolutely nothing because we pulled the wires out by mistake. Anyway, we're going to get that linked up to there, along with the external USB charger. That's going to get linked up to there, and maybe a few other bits and pieces. Knowing me, we're more likely to get sort of preoccupied with lots of other stuff. I found some old detailing stuff, like the old clay bar stuff. We're getting this ready to go on show, so I don't know how used to not having the steps I'm actually going to be. I told Danielle that I'd actually got rid of the steps because that was kind of a spontaneous thing, and she's like, oh no, that's such a shame, we'll have to get some more. And I'm like, I don't need any more. And she's like, we can get one of those automatic pull out ones, and we just can't with this van because it goes just there on the outside. Directly underneath there is the fuel tank, so we can't get one of them. I don't know if you've got any other options for sort of side steps, automatic or whatever, for the new shape VW Crafter, let me know in the comments. But for now, it's my time to go to bed. Good night, guys. Welcome to our park up. I've got this black cable here. I've wired it into number 2, and I'm just going around now checking absolutely everything. That's in the normally open and the common area. And then in the back, you can see we've started some wiring. And again, the wiring isn't pretty. We've got all of that to sort out. I've pulled the curtain at the side there until I've got as many cables back there as possible. So we've got the cable coming out from over there, and that dangling one is the one from the actual light that we're trying to affix. We've connected this onto the positive side of that line. So the negative goes straight into the fuse box. The positive comes from that cable into this cable all the way along into the common on the control backs, then out of the normally open straight down and into the positive side of the fuse box. Does that make sense? I mean, I think I made it sound a bit complicated. I wish I had a pen to sort of draw it, but it comes from the light, the negative from the light goes from the negative straight into the fuse box. The positive goes from the light over to the switch, which is the one we've wired into this, normally open, the common, and then from the switch into the actual live on the actual fuse box. But now we're going to add another tile to this. You see how it says Wi-Fi? We're going to add another one. Let's see if I figure out how to do this. So we go into there, we go into installer settings, we type in the code 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then we go into tile settings, click onto that, and it should come add a new tile. Boom. So we'll click on that one, and we want light, so that's alarm, light, that one just there. And we can use display name. So what should we call that light? Sliding door light? Or should we call it Jeffrey? Or should we all original and just call it a door light? Click on save. So that way we've got the symbol that we want, and we've got the actual name that we want. So now we've got satellite and lights. So we just click on lights and boom, the light comes on. So go. Oh, that's so cool. So now I'm going to customize these tiles. I want that to say door light and that one to say Starlink. So the way I do it is I go into installer settings again, type in the code. Every code comes as standard with that, and you can change it just by doing all this sort of stuff down here. Tile settings. Now if you click on down here, add a new tile, you can pick what symbol you want and then you can change the name of it, and then you press add. So that if you go into, like, number 1 is satellite, so if I can go into that now, that custom tile that I made, if you press across there, because you've got loads of options, there's Starlink. So if I put that one there, and then if I go on to tile number 2, click on that, it just says lights to start with, and I've got that one there that says door light. Boom. In theory, that should work. Let's press on the home screen. Look at that. Look at that, Starlink and door light. And then we click on the door light, and the door light comes on. Click on the Starlink, and that starts working. I'm really chuffed with this system. I really am. If I've not mentioned it before, I'll leave all the links to them down in the description down below. I've added another one. So outside the van, you see that little thing there? Oh, that's a scan strip. It's a USB and a USB-C external socket. So if you're sat outside with the awning out and you're loving life and your phone's dead, you can plug your phone into there. Or if somebody is up on the mountains and they come back down and find out that they've got no phone and they're lost and stuff like that, they can plug into it and sort that out. But they can only plug into it now if I turn it on. Outside USB. Look at that. Right, I think that's enough of my gibbering on for God knows how long about random stuff, but that's really cool. I'll leave all the links for it in the description down below. I'm going to quick detail and clay bar parts of the van, just because, again, it's on show, so I'm kind of working on it a week and a half before the actual show, just to try and get some sort of like little rust spots off it and stuff like that. Do you know, like where a piece of metal's flaked onto it? Anyway, I'm gibbering on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're new around here, please subscribe.